Lovely. So guys, we're going to be talking today about planning your online course and getting the structure together. And we're going to be actually taking you through the process here of where to actually start. Now, a lot of people start by getting a blank piece of paper and quite simply going, let's start writing. Now, that is actually not how we do it. And writing a course plan is actually one of the last things that we do. There is a whole bunch of stuff that we need to be doing before that to make sure that we do have an engaging and a profitable training program. And I can guarantee you now, if you follow the steps I'm going to take you through this morning, you will be able to come up with, within 7 days, a profitable and engaging course plan. This is the biggest question I want to know. Is why haven't you got started with your course plan yet? Or what is it that you're struggling about putting that pen to paper for the first time? So thinking about the actual structuring out the course plan itself, why are you stuck? Where are you stuck? Why is this bit so challenging? For some people, it's just simply a case of time. For some people, it's complete overwhelm. For some people, it's I just don't know where to begin. I don't know what my audience want. I don't know my topic well enough yet. I don't understand how to create online learning programs. I'm not trained in education. Whatever it might be for you, there's no right or wrong here, obviously. This is just a really bit of research that is going to help me again today know what stuff to give you, what stuff to leave out. It's also going to make sure that I try and answer those questions through this. So let's get going. The first question is, look, do you want to be an online instructor? Or do you want to be an edupreneur? A lot of people absolutely hate these sort of combining words because, they just think it's gross and cheesy, but it's the only way that I can actually come up with explaining how important it is that we need to think strategically about our online course creation. Now, it's all well and good to think, I want to change people's lives, I want to make a difference. Great, that absolutely should be where you're coming from. That should be the core fundamental basis of your entrepreneurial business, because if you don't love what you do and you don't love the results that you're giving your people, then you're not going to last very long in this industry, because it really is a passion industry. However, and this is a very big however, if you only build a course based on, I want to help people and change people's lives, I'm going to call you someone who is just an online instructor, because an online course that comes from the heart isn't necessarily one that's going to be incredible for your bank account, as incredible as it might be for your students. What we need to do is we need to think entrepreneurially. So we need to educate our market in a profitable manner. And if we're going to do that, this means creating great courses that are engaging, that are going to transform our students' lives, but are ultimately going to do that in a way that makes us money. At the end of the day, just having a great course isn't enough to pay the bills, and we need to get this balance right between the two. And this bit I'm going to show you today, the tips I'm going to show you today, are the parts, the most important parts for making sure that your online course does both of those things. So that's what we're going to look at. And by the way, some of the tips I'm going to show you today come from my 2 online courses. You can check those out through that link. So where do we start? Where do we begin when we're planning out our course topic and our course content? Now, the first thing you want to start with is you need to make sure you're teaching a course that you love. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of hard work to build the course, to then film it all, to get it online, and to then maintain and manage that. Secondly, building the course is just the beginning. You then have the marketing that never, ever, ever stops, guys, and neither does the updating of the course. So if you want to have a course that's going to evergreen help people, that means forever, and always going to be earning you money, you need to be aware of the fact that just building it isn't enough. You cannot have the mindset of build it and they will come. No, you have to forever then be writing about your topic, creating blogs on your topic, creating short taster videos on your topic, answering questions in social forums about your topic, going on podcasts about your topic, so that you can forever drop in the, oh, and by the way, I have an online course on this line, so that you can forever get leads. So if you don't pick a topic that you love, you are going to be shooting yourself in the head very quickly, and this certainly isn't something that you can sustain for a long period of time if you don't enjoy it. So this is the first thing I say. Number 1 task, write this down. Write down 100 things that you love. 100 things that you love. Now, this could be anything. It can be personal, it can be business, it can be whatever you possibly think of. 100 things that you love. I then want you to, once you've written down those 100 things, next to each one, score out of 10 how much you love it. So 1 is don't love it very much, and 10 is I absolutely love this thing more than the world. So you've got that. Number 2, I then want you to write a separate list of all of the things that you are skilled at, all of the things that you're good at. Now, these could be things that you have been formally trained how to do. It could be things that you've been informally trained how to do. So it could be absolutely anything, a skill that you've learned, and you can do it without even thinking about it. You know, it's a bit like once you've learned how to drive and you've been driving for a long time, you can get all the way to work and forgot that you had even remembered that you'd been driving, because it's just something that you do automatically without thinking about it. So this could be anything. And if you're stuck with starting, literally start with the stupidest things. I know how to make, I'm good at making a cup of tea. I'm good at making that particular dish. I'm good at calming people down when they're stressed out. Whatever it might be, write all of those down. Then again, go next to each one and score 1 to 10 of how good you are at that thing, how automatically and naturally it comes to you. Then I want you to write a third column. The third column is everything you have experience in. So this is stuff that you have done in a job. It might be stuff that you've done voluntarily, maybe stuff that you've done as part of your business, but something that you actually have experience in. Now, when you have been there and done it, not only does that give you more credibility, it gives you more relatability with your audience. So it's really, really important for you to pick something that you've been through. Now, let's pretend you're teaching people how to overcome stressful trauma or something. You're teaching people how to overcome trauma. Now, obviously, you're going to be far better at teaching that. You're going to have far more relatability with your audience if you yourself have been through a traumatic experience and got through the other side. So what experiences have you had, whether they're practical work experiences or whether they are life experiences that you have got through, been there, done it, got the t-shirt? This makes you qualified, so to speak, to go back and then teach that, because there are other people in the world who have not yet been through that, or who are trying to get through that and can't see how to get through the other side. And you can share your tips on those. Now, a lot of people get to the stage here of having this feeling of imposter syndrome. They think, you know, I'm going to get busted for looking like a fraud. I don't know everything about my topic. You know, what if people find out that I don't know everything about my topic? Well, the thing I want to tell you guys here is that if you think like that, your course is never going to get completed, because the fact is the world changes so fast, information is developing so quickly, stuff moves so fast and so rapidly that it is an actual impossibility for you to know everything about your topic. It's never going to happen. So if you're sitting there saying to yourself, well, I'm going to wait until I've done this research, I'm going to wait until I know this, I'm going to wait until I've learned that, until I start teaching my course, it's going to be a year, 5 years, 10 years, and it's never going to happen. And you're going to be sitting there going, I wish I'd got that course created. By now your competitors have jumped in and taken over, and you know, it's gone. The opportunity has been passed. That the opportunity is now. I want you to remember that the only thing you need to worry about teaching is what you know how to do. People are not paying you for what you don't know. People are not coming on your course for you to teach them what you don't know. People are coming on your course so that you can teach them what you do know. You are only needing to worry about the stuff you do know how to do. That's all you need to teach, is what you do know. Look, if you find that as you go along and you learn new stuff, the most awesome thing about online courses is that you can just add that new stuff later as you learn it, as you become more confident in teaching that particular element. You only need to teach what you know, what you're good at, what you love, what you have experience in. Forget everything you don't know, because you're not teaching that. So hopefully now what will happen is you're less worried about that imposter syndrome, because you're not an imposter, because you're only teaching what you do know. So we got rid of that one. Secondly is you now have these 3 columns of stuff that you love, you're great at, you have experience in, and you've rated them out of 10. Now, if you're on my online course, I've actually made an Excel sheet template that you can download that's pre-filtered. So as you fill in this form, you can then filter it so that it reorders each of those 3 columns so that your highest ranking things are at the top and your lowest ranking things you've listed are at the bottom. Now then what you do is obviously you're going to look along the top of that column from left to right and see where these three things overlap. Where you have really high ranking items that you love, you're great at, you have experience in, these are going to be the top topics for you to then go on and teach. So that is one technique there for making sure that you are picking the right topic and getting that in order. Next thing, guys, is to check if there is more to add to your Knowit list. So this is important because when we started brain dumping everything we know about a particular topic, we've listed everything we know about it, we've listed everything we love about it, sometimes we can forget actually how much we know. So we want to start filling in the gaps. So this is a little bit of a hack, if you like, for how to find out all of the stuff that you're missing that you don't know how to do. So here we go. Let me have a look at this. I'm going to show you something. The first hack is to go to Amazon.com. So let's pretend you've got your topic now because you've written down all those things you know you love at, you're good at, you've got experience in. Now let's pretend that topic you've come up with is Facebook advertising. This is going to be what you're going to teach your course on. So go into the search bar at the top and type in Facebook advertising, press search, and every single book that has been written in that topic will show up. Now in the right-hand top corner, you've then got a sort by box, and I'd highly recommend you filter that by the ratings and reviews. You want the highest reviewed ones to come up at the top first of all. And the great thing about this is then all you need to do, quite simply, is to click on each of those items and go to the view button. So let me just show you how this works. I'm just going to go to Amazon right here. And this is a little trick. So let's pretend we're doing Facebook advertising here. Press search, all the books come up. Let's click on this book here. And look, you have the opportunity to look inside. Da, 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 da. So you look inside and you're going to go to the contents page. And here you've got the contents page of this particular book. Oh, look, all of these lovely chapters here that we can now be inspired by. Now, I want to use the word inspired very, very clearly because do not copy anyone else's content. Not only is that ethically horribly wrong, secondly, you're only going to be booting yourself up the bum because if you're creating a course that's the same as everyone else's out there, you don't have any unique positioning, you don't have any unique standpoint, and quite frankly, you're probably unlikely to sell them because why would somebody buy your course if it's the same as somebody else's? So don't be wrong, don't be stupid. Be inspired, look at this and say, what do I know of this how to do? Because you might go through this and go, oh, look, I know how to do this. Oh, I forgot that I know how to do that too. I'll add that to my course plan. Oh, I definitely forgot I know how to do that. I'll add that to my course plan. So first of all, it's just reminding you of stuff you know how to do in case you forgot to add it to your columns. But secondly, what it does is it helps you go, now how can mine be even better? How can my course be better than this course? And here's another way of using Amazon to do that. So first of all, we filtered by the highest reviews, then go to the lowest reviews. So scroll all the way down to where the reviews get rubbish. Okay, it's going to take ages for me to access so many pages. Find where the reviews are rubbish and see what the comments are from people. And whatever the comments say about what was bad about that book, what was missing from that book, guess what? That's the stuff you want to include in your course, obviously as long as you know about that particular topic. So if you are looking at what the audience, what the world out there is not happy with, then clearly you can fill that gap where there is obviously a market demand. So that's one way of checking what's missing from your course plan, but also whether it's liked by your audience or whether it's not liked by your audience, or if there is a demand for missing content. So that's one. Now the second thing you can do here's a screenshot, is check out the courses that your competitors have. So this is important for a couple of reasons. Again, it helps you benchmark where your program is at. Benchmarking is significantly important because you need to know what types of programs your competitors are offering and what fees they're charging for that, so that you make sure you're not either pricing yourself out of the market, but you're also making sure that you're developing something that not only is as good as what's on the market, but preferably is much better. So you need to know what your competition are doing if you're going to have a profitable training course that is good. So a great place to look, guys, is Udemy. Now, as online instructors, if you don't have taster courses on Udemy, you're missing out on a massive market. Just to throw this out there, Udemy is a marketplace. It's not a learning management system. I'll go into that in another program. But basically, they've got 11 million users. If you do not have your courses on here, you're missing out on potentially 11 million students. It's a great way for you to get paid to give people a great taster of your programs. At the end, you can then say, you know, I have an advanced version of this over on my own school. Come and check it out. There are very big rules about taking people out of the Udemy platform, but again, that's a whole other conversation. So look, let's pretend that you are teaching Facebook advertising again. Type in Facebook advertising, press search, and guess what? It will bring up every single course that has anything to do with Facebook advertising. So again, the great thing about Udemy is that every single course has a curriculum that's fully viewable by everybody. So click on a course that sounds like it's similar to yours, have a look through, and you can see there's a whole curriculum here. So just like you would do with the Amazon books, have a look at all of the modules. You know, you'll get not only an idea of structure, it will help you go, okay, wow, actually my idea is better than that. It gives you a bit of confidence. It makes you go, oh, I forgot about that. I know how to do that. I forgot that I know how to do that. I'm going to add that in my program. But again, how can I make mine better? How can I make mine different? How can I make mine even more interesting? Again, go down and check out the reviews. The great thing about Udemy is there's tons of reviews on there. Now, again, you want to go to the 3 stars and less. So everywhere that has 3 and less stars, see what the comments are. And if they're saying, you know, it was missing this, I didn't like the fact that this wasn't explained, guess what? That's what you need to add to your course to make yours better and make yours different as well. So this is how you make sure that you've got more content to add, that yours is benchmarked with the industry, to make sure that yours is better and make sure yours is different to everyone else's. Now, by now, you're going to have a huge list of different types of stuff that you can be teaching in your online course. So what we need to now do is we need to start refining that, because this is where overwhelm is starting to creep in. We've now probably got a humongous list. We want to filter it down. So here's the next thing you need to do. You now need to decide what the actual objective of your course is. Now, when I'm talking to edupreneurs about how to create a profitable business model around their course, I give them this kind of package concept. Now, when you are teaching, there is sort of a funnel, if you like, of how much you deliver, what type of content you deliver, which determines how much you can charge for your course. But ultimately, when it comes to this topic, will determine what you teach, what your content will be like, and how your course will be structured. So the most basic level, the cheapest form of education you can give to people is information. Now, information is stuff that's pretty much freely available or very cheaply available. Information is stuff like books, it's blog articles, it's videos and things that are answered on YouTube. It's pretty much information that anyone could find if they were researching, but ideally you want this information to be coming from you. They come to you because they know that you are the source of expertise on that particular topic. So if you're providing information, it's going to be your cheapest or freest at the bottom end of your funnel for your particular product or service. So if you're providing information for your course, your content is going to be very, very simple. It's going to be quite basic, and your course would basically be, think of the top 10 to 20 questions that your audience tend to ask on your topic, and your course will simply be 10 to 20 videos of you answering those questions. It's just information, okay? So that's the bottom end. The next thing your course could be is implementation. So this is when you actually give people the step-by-step processes or the how-tos of doing something. So let's go with the Facebook advertising course example here. If you are building a course on Facebook advertising that was information only, then primarily your course would be things like, what is Facebook advertising? Why is Facebook advertising important? Who uses Facebook advertising? How much does Facebook advertising cost? You know, it's going to be just info. If we come and build a course on implementation, then we're going to be writing things in our course or answering questions in our course, such as how to set up a Facebook ad step by step, how to create your business Facebook page where your adverts will come from, how to. So you can see the difference here in when it's information, it's what is, more often than not, you're answering the what is question. When we come to implementation, you're answering how to. So can you see how your content is going to be different in your course based on whether you're providing an information course or an implementation course? Obviously, implementation, because you're providing people with a step-by-step process, the how-to guide for something, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. Then the next stage up from that is transformation. Now, if your course literally takes people from A to B, if your course changes where somebody's at from the beginning to where they're at the end of your course, then your course is literally transforming people from one place to another. Does it make them feel a different way? Does it give them new skills? Does it give them new mindset? Does it give them new knowledge? Does it make them feel a certain way? Does it change their profits? Does it change their income? Whatever it might be. If you are moving people from one place to another as a result of your course, then you have what's called a transformative course. Now, the best edupreneurs in the world are people who write courses that are transformational in nature. Now, these transformational ones have information. They then have the implementation, the how-to, but importantly, the next step up from that is they actually have the practical element to them. These are where you give people templates, you give people guides, it's when you give people the demonstrations, it's when you give people activities and projects that they can then go and do so that they can apply that stuff to their practice. Now, I use this example, I use the recipe book example with this quite often, is information is the recipe book itself. Implementation is the recipe. It's exactly what ingredients they need and what order that they need to chop everything up in and cook it in order to actually produce that dish. The transformation might be, if that cookery book, for instance, is about healthy eating, the transformation is that their health has improved, they've lost weight, they've got more energy, their mental health is better, their mental performance is increased. So you can see here how we're starting to go up the scale now, not only from cheaper to more expensive, but from how it changes the way that you're going to teach, the content you're going to put in there, and the way that you're going to deliver that information so that it brings about those different kinds of results. So we've decided now if our course is information, implementation, or transformation. So that's going to tell us how in-depth we're going to go into our course. So now go back to your list of stuff that you've written down, those huge lists that we've been inspired by what we know, what we love, what we've got experience in, and we've added to that by looking at similar topics on Amazon and similar topics on Udemy, and we've now got this big list. What you're going to do now is, if you've decided that your course is going to be information, so this might be your cheap lead generation course that you're going to put on Udemy, for instance, then you're going to obviously want to remove everything that is more than information. If you've got actual implementation or transformation stuff in there, it's too much. You're only going to want the info. So make that stuff just your short course. Obviously, if you're going for implementation and transformation, then you're going to keep all of the stuff that's aligned to that. So next step. What we need to then do is, now we've got huge lists of all the stuff we want to teach, we need to understand that what we think our audience want and need might actually be very different to what they want and need. We need to make sure now that we have a market for our course. We need to make sure that we are not about to create a course that nobody wants to buy. We need to make sure that there is a market out there of people that are ready to pull their wallets out and throw their cash at us. Yeah, who wants that? Hell to the yeah. Okay, so what we need to do is actually, this is easier than you think. It's a lot easier than you think. When I first went to turn my Train the Trainer course into a how to create your own course, I came at it from my own very technical point of view. I was thinking really in depth, really detailed, because I know my topic so well that I assume that everybody else does too. So I was thinking way too complex. Remember, guys, that your knowledge is a curse sometimes. When you know your topic so well, it's impossible for you to remember what it's like to not know that stuff. So what you think is, oh, this is way too simple. People are going to think this is me making them suck lemons. People are going to think that this is me, you know, taking the mick. No, when you know your topic really, really well, you forget that there are so many people out there that literally have no idea. They've never heard the terminology. They don't know where to begin. They don't know where to start. Remember that to a second grader, a fourth grader is an expert. But when you're the fourth grader, you think that second grade was really easy. Try and put yourself back in that second grader mentality. What did you not know when you first started? What information did you wish there was for you when you first started in your topic? Because that's where your audience are at now. When I started, I asked my audience what they wanted me to teach them, and the information that came back was really, really different to what I thought they wanted, and importantly, was far more simple than I thought they wanted. The best way I can get you to think about this, I've used this example a couple of times in the Facebook group, is when you are somebody like me who tends to go over technical, over advanced, you think you have to overpack loads and loads of information. I want you to do the man in a pub test, okay? This means, imagine that you have literally walked into a bar after work, you've ordered your glass of wine or your whiskey chaser or whatever you drink. Greg, it was a beer, wasn't it? And this guy asks you what you teach, and you have to simply explain to the man in a bar what you teach. If you come at explaining your course in the man in a bar way, all of a sudden what happens is you drop all the technical, you drop all the overcomplication, you drop all of that complexity, and it suddenly becomes far more accessible for people to understand, and it suddenly reduces all of the pressure off of your shoulders to, you know, you're not teaching a university degree. So what you need to do then, let's get back to getting it simple, is you don't have to do the work. To have a really, really good course, actually, get your audience to do the work. So when it comes to writing out your course plan, one of the first things I want you guys to go away and do today, and I want you to do this today because this is not hard, is to simply ask your audience what they want to learn. So I want you to go and find all of the Facebook groups where your audience hang out in. I want you to find the LinkedIn groups that your audience hang out in. I want you to, wherever your audience are, I want you to simply go, hey guys, can you help me? I'm planning on creating a course on blah. And I just am in my research phase at the moment. I was wondering if I was going to teach a course in Blur, or if you were going to take a course in Blur, what questions would you have? What things would you like me to demonstrate for you? What questions would you like me to answer? Thank you so much for helping me. Now, you will actually be amazed if you're posting this stuff in the right place. You will be amazed at how much people will respond and go, oh my God, I'd love to know about this, and this. Guess what? They end up writing your course plan for you. They actually tell you what they want you to teach. So this tells you what people want to buy. If people are asking questions about your topic, then they're going to be willing to pay you for the answers. So this is the first thing I want you to do. Take that script, copy it, and then go and find all of these different locations. So personal social media page, You're going to have people that follow you and like you there. Maybe you've got business social media pages, but the best place you can be placing your question is in Facebook groups. The engagement in there is really, really high. So let's pretend you teach, I use this really simple example. Let's pretend you teach dog grooming, okay? Go and find groups such as I Heart Dogs. Now, let me just show you how to do this, guys. I'm just going to go into my Facebook. Now, if you target dog owners, let's type in dogs. So you go up here, you go into the search bar, you type in dogs, and see underneath you have these filters. You want to click on the groups button. So click groups. And here you will find a list of all of the groups that exist that have anything to do with dogs. Guess what? Dog owners are going to be in there. If I've got a dog grooming course, that's where I want to do my research. That's where I want to start engaging with people. That's where I want to start answering questions. That is where I want to post my question. Hey guys, what do you want to learn? If you target, entrepreneurs, type in entrepreneur, type in business, find the groups, join the groups, ask the questions there. You will be amazed at how many people are really are willing to help you with this. So this is the best place for you to start. So little tip here as well, guys, is you're obviously going to be posting in lots of different places. Whenever you make a post, let me just go into my Facebook page here. If you make a post in a group, you'll see you have this little drop down arrow here. It's not showing me here, but you can basically do a drop down and tell it to give you notifications so that you'll be able to find those posts that you've posted everywhere so that you can actually go back and find the answers. But of course, make sure you actually write down where you've posted your questions so that you can find them later. Okay, so the script says, hi everyone, please can you help me? I'm creating a course on Blur and I'm just in my research phase. I was wondering if you were going to take a course on Blur, what stuff would you like to learn? What information would you like to learn? What questions would you like answered? So that's basically the kind of script that you're going for there. Okay, so once you've posted your question, and I want you all to do that today, once you've posted your question in all of these different groups, you then want to go and actually find questions that people are asking on your particular topic. If people are asking the question, then they want to find the answer. So the first place to begin is a website called Quora, Quora, Quora.com. Now this basically, guys, is a place where people ask questions about anything. So here's the example here. Let's go with a Facebook advertising course example here. I'm going to press enter. Facebook advertising, and what it does is it brings up every single question that has ever been asked about Facebook advertising. So you can go through here, find the questions, find the most commonly asked questions. Now what I do is I just copy these questions, I put them all in a big Word document, and I know that again if people are asking that question, then clearly they need the answer, and clearly my course, importantly, should answer that question. The cool thing about this is once your course has been built, you can come back to these questions and answer it with your answer, the video that you've now made, and put by the way, this is from my Facebook advertising course, here's the link. Ta-da! This is a really great way to get sales because you actually have here an entire platform of people that want your answer to their question, which means if you directly answer it, you helpful little thing, you're going to have people, you've got a whole list of buyers right here. These are people that actually want your stuff. They want the answers to it. So this is a really great way to find the answers to your questions. I'm going to go back to Facebook because here is another great way to find what questions your audience want answered so that you then can put that content in your course. If you go to a Facebook group, so I'm just going to go to my Facebook group here, Entrepreneur to Edupreneur. Now, let's pretend you target online course creators. You're obviously going to come to a group like this, as long as you're not competing with me or I'll throw you out. What you want to do here is type in the keywords that your course answers. So let's pretend you teach people how to create awesome videos, for instance. You might type in how to video. something like that. Press the search button. So there's always this, in every single Facebook group, there is a search box, and it again will bring up the keywords that you're typing in. And yeah, so this is a really great way to find where people might be asking this question. It's not a very good example here because nothing's coming up. But what I tend to do is I go into Facebook groups where my audience hang out, and I will type in how to online course. And it will bring up any questions that anyone's ever asked about how to create online courses. I can then obviously go straight to those and answer those questions and, you know, generate conversations, start building relationships, and obviously then go on to promote my content to those people. So what this now is going to be doing for you is starting to give you a really good idea of exactly what you need to have in your course. And importantly, what you don't need to have in your course. Because if you go back to your original list now, what you're going to be finding is that there was a bunch of stuff you wrote down that in your research has not come up. People have not said they want to learn that stuff in your Facebook post comments. There haven't been any questions asked about that particular stuff in Facebook groups. There haven't been any questions asked about that particular stuff in forums like Quora. Guess what? It's likely that nobody therefore wants to learn that stuff, and there's no point in you teaching it, because it probably means that there is no market demand for that information. Your course is going to be less likely to be helpful and therefore profitable. So this bit not only tells you what you need to include in your course, it also tells you what to take out of your course and therefore reduce that feeling of overwhelm. So now what you need to do is gather all your findings. So I'd say give it about 3 days, 2 to 3 days for people from different time zones to see your posts in all of those Facebook groups, and then create an Excel document or a Word document and basically look at what are all of the major themes, all of the major kind of questions that people are asking about your topic. What stuff do people want you to teach? There'll be a lot of things that are worded slightly differently but mean the same thing. So you want to consolidate all of those together, and what this is now going to form are your major modules. These major things, the top major questions that people are asking, now form your modules. Guess what? Your audience did that for you. Cheers, audience. So that's a nice, easy bit. Now, we've got our major themes and our major modules. That's where we've got to now. Now what we want to do is see if we can refine this even further. So the next thing we're going to do is create something called a Likert scale survey. A Likert scale survey is one of those surveys where you've probably seen them. Someone will ask a question and you rate it on a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. That's what a Likert scale actually is. So I'm going to show you a picture here. I don't know if you can see this that well. I'm just going to press the present screen so you can see this a bit better. So a Likert scale is something like this. Now, this is actually the real results that came out of that Facebook post that I did when I said, hey, people, I'm going to create a course on online courses, online course creation. What do you want to learn? And I had this huge list of stuff that people said, I'd like to learn this, 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 and this. So what I did is I used Google Forms to create a survey. Google Forms is completely free. You can put as many questions in there as you like. You can do all different types of questions, whether it's paragraphs or multiple choices like this. And then what you want to do is next to each item, each major theme, write down the 5 options they have. I do want to know about this a lot. I don't want to know about this at all. Don't really care if you include this or not. And then send that survey back out to the audience. Because it's important now that if you find there's a bunch of stuff that people really, 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 really want to learn about, and then there's a bunch of stuff that people don't really care, don't really want to learn about, again, this is going to tell you very clearly what to include and, importantly, what not to include in your course. There's no point including stuff that people don't want to learn unless they have to learn that stuff in order to achieve what they do want to learn. So, for instance, if you're teaching people Facebook advertising, you've got to make sure they know actually how to use Facebook and how to set up an account first. That might not be something they said they want to do, but you know they have to do that in order to learn it. But if you can remove everything that they've not asked for, then clearly you're going to be creating a course that people absolutely love. If they love it, they're going to refer it more. It's going to get higher ratings. It's going to go up the algorithms because it's going to have lots of engagement, and it's going to make you more money because people are constantly going to go, you should do that person's course because it was great. So simply create those themes then, create the major results, create a Google form, and ask people how much they want to know about each of those different topics so that you can refine your course plan even more. You will now have your results back of how much people want to know about each thing. So now you know exactly what you're going to include in your course and you've got rid of everything else. So now we're only focusing on the stuff our audience have said, I really, 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 really want to learn about these things. So that's now our major themes we have. What you're going to do now is for each major theme, you're going to decide what will your audience be able to do by the time they have finished that module, that major topic, that major theme. By the time they've finished your course, what things will they be able to do? Practical skills, okay? So list down as many practical skills or able to do's for that particular module, that particular theme. Do that for all of them. Then what will they know? What knowledge will they have gained by the time they've finished each of those major things? And then how will they feel or how will they not feel by the time they have finished that particular module? So for instance, let's go with the Facebook advertising one again, just because that seems to be the theme here. It may be that one of the modules in your Facebook advertising course is audience, refining your audience, for instance, okay? Deciding who your audience is. So a do might be, by the end of this course, you will be able to use Facebook Audience Manager, I don't know Facebook advertising by the way, to filter out the interests of your target audience. I'm obviously not a Facebook advertiser. By the end of this module, you will be able to state the step-by-step process for blah, blah, blah. So that's going to be a knowledge thing. You will feel more confident about Facebook advertising, or you will not feel overwhelmed by Facebook advertising. So you can see where I'm going with this. Basically, what this is now doing is it's going to start defining exactly what you are going to deliver from each of those modules. By the time you have decided what you're going to deliver from each of those modules, you have now basically created for yourself an exact plan of what content you need to teach in order to meet that outcome. So this bit here is basically how you are now forming the learning outcomes for your course, which not only double up as sales copy, because if you're telling people exactly what they're going to get, they're going to be more likely to want it. What it also does is tells you exactly what you're going to include and not include in your course. Now, when it comes to writing the learning outcomes, there is a very detailed process you need to use in order to make sure that your learning outcomes sort of meet the principles of adult learning and effective curriculum design. We don't have time to go into that, but it is in my online course. So you've now got what learning outcomes people are going to get, so you know exactly what you're going to teach. Now we're going to look at what we're actually going to make all of our lectures about. And this is the bit where we start brain dumping our content knowledge, our subject matter expertise. There's a number of different ways that you can do this. I'm just going to show you a couple of examples. Now, depending on the type of worker or learner that you are, there's a number of different methods that you can use to start putting together all of your different ideas. So one of the ways here, you'll see this colourful bunch of post-it notes photographs over here on your right hand side. This is one way if you're a bit of a practical person. What you might like to do is get your learning outcomes for module 1, stick your learning outcomes right in the middle of your wall, and then get post-it notes and simply post each thing that you're going to teach around it. One idea per post-it note, which means that you'll have one video per post-it note. One idea, one video. So this helps you really clearly see what each idea is going to be, what lecture is going to be. And once you've brain dumped it all around each of those learning outcomes, you will know and perhaps how to reorder each of those things within that module so that it flows logically. Another way is to simply create a mind map. So you've got this mind map here at the bottom. So you put your learning outcomes for that particular module in the middle. You put your major things you want to teach around the next layer, and then your individual lectures coming out from that. That's one way if you prefer that method. Some people are more structured. They like to have a table in Word. So you simply can go module 1, the title is, and then literally put your lecture titles in each one. And as you're brain dumping, simply go right click, add a new row, and just insert your content as it's coming out of your brain into a table like that. Another method I use is called the PowerPoint method. So for instance, I will create a bunch of PowerPoints in one color. I don't worry about how pretty it looks. This is just the brain dumping exercise with each of my major module headings on. And as I'm brain dumping, instead of post-it notes on the wall, I simply create a new slide and I put that one idea for that one video underneath each sort of major module. The great thing about the PowerPoint method is obviously you can move all of your slides around to reorder things as you're brain dumping. So that's another way that you can start brain dumping your content. Now remember, you are only writing down lectures, lecture titles or content type titles or content information based on directly achieving that learning outcome. Remember, we're only creating content now that our audience have asked for. We only need to worry about that. We're not including anything else. This is where the overwhelm now is completely reduced. It's completely gone away. We are only teaching what our research has told us our audience want. So those learning outcomes we've created obviously are based on what our audience want. If you brain dump an idea, regardless of what method you use, that does not directly align to achieving one of those learning outcomes for that module, guess what? You get rid of it. You throw it away, it goes in the bin. You do not teach that particular thing. Save it for another course. Save it for one of your promo YouTube videos or something. But that's really important now. This is where it really helps you go, don't need that, don't need that. Throw that idea in the bin. I don't need to clutter my brain or my course with that stuff because my research told me my audience don't need that. It doesn't align to a learning outcome. Get rid of it. Okay, next bit. How many modules? I get asked this question all the time. Sarah, how many modules should my online course have? Sarah, how many lessons should there be per module? The answer to this, guys, is there is no right or wrong. You need to think about what your audience have asked you for. You need to think about what your learning outcomes are, because this is what you're promising to your audience, because that's what they want, that's what they want to buy. Therefore, if it takes you 1 2-minute video to answer that question, or to give them that information, or to demonstrate that skill, or to transform them, great, cool. If it takes 25 10-minute videos to answer that question, to achieve that result, to get that outcome, cool. As long as you are removing all fluff from your course and you're getting straight to the point, I don't know if you've noticed, I get straight to the point in every single one of these, people are going to enjoy it. As long as each individual video itself, if you're doing videos, is less than 10 minutes, then it doesn't matter how many videos you have. It doesn't matter how many modules you have. As long as the course is achieving the learning outcomes that have been promised, and those learning outcomes are what the audience have asked for, all good, okay? Don't worry about what a course should look like in size. Okay, in terms of how do you then organize your lectures within each module? So let's pretend it doesn't matter. Some modules might have 1 or 2 lectures. Some of your modules might have 10 or 15 lectures. You do not need to make each module the same length at all, because again, each module has different sets of outcomes. So you just make that module as long as it needs to be to deliver those. So, organizing the content within each module can be done in a couple of ways, depending on what you're teaching and how you're teaching it. One method is to quite simply go module 1, tip 1, tip 2, tip 3, tip 4, tip 5. Simple as that. There might not even be any logical flow from one to the other, to the other, to the other. I've got a course called How to Become the Go-To Authority in Your Industry. And all it basically is a giant course full of tips, tricks, and hacks. You don't have to do module 1 before you do module 2. You could jump straight to module 10 and it not affect anything, because all it is just tips. They don't come in any particular order, so your course can be in that form. Certainly, this is a really great way to actually start structuring your course. Just simply go, I know this tip, I know this tip, I know this method, I know this method, I know this method. Don't worry necessarily about connecting any of them at the moment. Just put them in the sort of clusters, the modules that they belong to, and then you can reorganize them later. So that's one method. The second method, which I would say start with method 1 of just going tip, 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 tip. Then once you've got all of your tips down out of your head in each relevant module, then this is a great way that I would recommend actually ordering your lectures within each module. Always start with the module introduction. Quite simply, this is going to be a maximum 2-minute video where you go, hi guys, welcome to module 1. In this module, we're going to cover blah, 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 blah. Done, finished. Then you go into the content. The next video, I would tend to make about a definition. So let's pretend we're talking, what's this definition here? Okay, so this pretend course I've got here is about how to make a cup of tea. Okay, so we're going to go module 1. Hi guys, in this module, we're going to be talking about tea bags, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we're going to learn about where they come from, what they're made with, whatever. Then our next module is the definition. What is it? So we're going to go, lecture 2 is what is a tea bag? What's the definition of a tea bag? What does tea mean? So we're getting people to understand what it is that we're really talking about and how you're defining it. Then we need to go into our next lecture, which is evidence. It needs to be contextualized. You need to start saying, why should people listen to this? Why is this important? Why should we do this? Why should we not do this? The thing that you're talking about, why does it apply to them? This is where you really get people to understand how it's going to apply to their practice, to their life, to their well-being, whatever it is that you're teaching. Next, you go into the how-to steps. Now, this could be 10 videos, it might be 1 video, but this is where whatever that module is about, you're going to do 1 how video, the X how video, the next implementation video, the tip, the tip, the tip, the tip, the method, the method, the method, the method. This is where you put all of your tips in. Then you go into, obviously, your activity. If you are doing a transformation course, this is where you'll have maybe templates or handouts, downloads. Maybe you've got some MP3, some audio in there. Perhaps you've got some group discussion. Perhaps you've got a project for them to go and do, or an activity or a quiz or a questionnaire. Then you have, obviously, your module conclusion, whatever it is you want them to do, think, or behave in next. So look, this is no right or wrong again. You always need to be thinking, does this align to the learning outcomes? If it doesn't, don't put those lectures in there. Don't just fill up courses with stuff because it's in your head. As long as you're achieving the outcome, the order that you put your content in is really up to you. There isn't a right or wrong there. Guys, just before you drop off, I do have a special offer for you. If you go to the offers box, the link will go there. These are my online courses, how to create a profitable online course. This has well over 5 hours of content, over 60 videos, downloads, discussions, PDFs, templates, you name it, guys. This is, if you've enjoyed this particular webinar, you've just had an hour of what is more than a 5-hour program without all of the templates. If you buy this course, which right now is only $147, by the way, that was my launch price, which I haven't updated yet. My course has been significantly updated since that launch price. This course price will actually be doubling by the end of the month because I've added so much new content to it. If you buy that for $147, you get this one completely free of charge. Free, free. How to successfully promote, market and sell your online course. Like I said to you before, creating your course is just the beginning. You then need to learn how to market that consistently with as minimal effort as possible, because let's face it, you've got enough to do with your life, so that you're constantly making sales. This course, guys, is nearly 50 videos long, over 4 hours of content. It has the fundamental, absolute must-do things to market your course, and it also has some really advanced marketing strategies, hacks and tools and tips in there as well. Lots of templates, lots of screencast demos of things that you need to do. You get that course completely free of charge if you buy the How to Create Profitable Courses course, and the link's in the bottom.